When you prepare, when you think about doing the trail, you think about the how, the mechanics, and you forget about the why.
Why the PCT? Because it's there. It needs to be conquered. No, just you know, there is an aspect of romantic visions of what you're going to go through.
People seem to do the PCT for lots of reasons, don't they? To prove their endurance, if they're older, to prove they're still fit enough to do these things, to try and do these things while they feel they can do them.
You know how you have all these things in the back of your mind, like, oh, someday I'll do that. And all those things start adding up. And one day I was like, well, if I don't start doing these things, then someday's never gonna come and I'm never gonna do them.
Well, to be honest with you, that the idea came up when I was in Vietnam, because in Vietnam we didn't know if we were gonna make it out of there. And so we had what we call a bucket list of things that we want to do before we die.
I love backpacking. It makes me know that I can still do stuff even though I have a disability and whatnot.
I'm out here mostly because I just really deeply want to be here.
Because of my age, I'm having trouble with my weight.
So I hiked the Appalachian Trail 2 years ago and just like fell in love with through hiking. It's like, man, I gotta do it again. So signed up for another Sufferfest.
I was looking to hit a personal reset button.
I've wanted to hike the entire PCT, I think since late high school. My friend and I heard about it together.
And this has been on our list of things to do for a long time.
I was getting very complacent with my life, very comfortable, so I needed to do something that made me uncomfortable.
A PCT porque era uma jornada que eu queria muito viver com meu marido, em contato com a natureza por um tempo, a gente se desligar um pouquinho do mundo lá fora.
I just always wanted to do the PCT.
What is the PCT?
What is the PCT?
What is PCT?
O que é PCT?
Oh, that's a hard question.
The PCT is a 2,650 mile long ass walk for crazy people. That is what the PCT is.
It goes through 3 states, California, Oregon, and in Washington.
The name stands for Pacific Crest Trail.
And the time available to do the walk is relatively short because of the end of one winter and the beginning of the next.
Es una aventura de conocer mucha gente, toparte con muchas víboras, animales, bichos que de repente se te sube una arañita y es como, ¡ay, es mini!
You primarily stay in the mountains, although sometimes you kind of walk down and around. And it's just a really lovely opportunity to be outside, to experience portions of these states that you might not otherwise experience.
The desert was something I really enjoy very much. Of course, there are parts and aspects of it that are very challenging.
Well, it was pretty tough to walk with so much water. And it really surprised me when Graham said, we have walked up the equivalent of 4 times Everest. And I thought, that is a lot of climbing.
It was like, holy shit, there's mountains out here. Like, a lot of them, and it's green, it's not just brown.
I thought it was beautiful. I mean, the flowers and the plants and the landscapes, I thought Southern California was gorgeous. And I was leaving that thinking like, maybe this will be my favorite section. You know, I really enjoyed it. And then we got to the Sierras and I was just, every day, I would just sort of stand there and stare at the mountains. I just couldn't even walk.
A few times I did wanted to quit, go home. I had enough of that. You cannot go home in the middle of the Sierras. You're trapped there. You have to keep going.
Sometimes you're standing right on the top of it and you don't have no idea that you are. Try to stay away from where the topographical lines are too close together because it means there's a cliff. And you can't traverse those, but just sit on your butt and slide. So, on the way down.
It was beautiful, but it was still pretty snowy and it was hard. I was always cold and wet.
The Sierra was a beauty. Beauty and the Beast because it was a beast of nature that, if you're not careful, you can easily break something or something could happen.
Northern California. I don't know, I like the whole PCT. Northern California, I mean, it's sort of like you're just sort of going along and all of a sudden there's like, you're gonna go to a town and it goes to a town and then back up.
I love Northern California. Northern California, I know, is where some people got a little tired of the trail, but for us, it's when we hit some of the beautiful wildflowers.
So it's definitely not as difficult as the Sierras, but it still was a lot more physically challenging than I anticipated it to be. It's a lot of forest, it's pretty dry.
I wasn't really on the trail. I was more in my head, that's why I can't remember. It was a very hard section.
The worst part was probably Northern California. I was really homesick. I wouldn't say it was bad, I would just say I was not in a really good, I wanted to be out of California.
Nossa, muito feliz.
Oregon by far was the best section. There was mountains, there was lakes, there was rivers.
We decided to do a lot of big miles in Oregon, which meant that Oregon, more than any other part of the trail, my feet hurt every day and my legs hurt every day, and we were just doing it to ourselves.
Oregon was super cruisy, just you could go as far as you wanted, the volcanoes, hiking through that volcanic, lava fields, that was horrible.
Oregon was interesting because it was pretty smoky this year, so the fires kind of affect the trail. So some of Oregon I couldn't see because it was just smoke.
Yeah, Washington is very hard and very beautiful.
There's a lot of elevation gain and loss. There's a lot of really stark mountain views so far.
Also, for us, Washington, the weather changed quite a bit.
It's so cool.
I think everybody has their own interpretation of what a thru hike is and what it means to them and what's important to them.
Muito mais do que uma trilha, é uma oportunidade de experimentar diferentes sentimentos e processar isso tudo de maneira muito dinâmica.
It's something every day is uncomfortable. And then hiking with a partner is learning a lot about compromise.
I think hiking with her is pretty good. Sometimes, I maybe one of us is grumpy or the other one is grumpy, and usually a candy bar fixes that.
It's been a little hard. My husband and I have different paces during the day, which is not usually a problem, but we have different paces for the trip, which is much more difficult. As in, I always want to stop, and he more wants to, get miles in and get the day done. And so it's good between the two of us.
Eu e o Edinho, a gente começou essa trilha junto e a gente terminou, acho que muito mais junto.
Said to Mum, this is something I'm going to do. And, initially she was pretty that sounds like a bad idea.
And then she actually offered, she said, well, Mum, why don't you come? Come to see what it's like, and then you'll know.
I don't know, I realized very often that it's so hard also to hike the PCT. It's cold, you feel miserable, you're hungry, or maybe also it's boring sometimes.
Mountain's kicking my ass.
I feel pain all the time.
God, I don't know. I mean, it is physically hard.
The worst thing for me is probably the cold weather.
Blisters are definitely the worst thing.
Because human nature is human nature, a lot of people look at the PCT like a pissing contest. It's all about the lightest gear. I'm lighter, my gear's lighter than yours. I'm doing more miles than you, I'm faster. It's just a never-ending pissing contest, and once you let that wave pass, you can enjoy it more.
I think I learned more to be closer to my wishes and to know what I want more.
I guess about myself, that if I set a goal, I can conquer it, no matter how big it initially seems.
I've learned that I'm a lot more resilient than I thought I was, and that I am capable of doing things that I maybe never thought that I could do.
Eu acho que eu aprendi a ser marido melhor, a entender e respeitar mais minha esposa. E no campo pessoal, eu acho que eu descobri o quanto eu amo a minha vida, a minha profissão, a minha rotina.
When I get back, I've got to be a better daughter to my parents.
I think you need a lot less than you maybe think you do.
Everyone's super happy. I think there's like a reason, like our brain chemistry like wants that. It doesn't want to plan out months ahead of time.
Incredible people. People are the best part of the trail, really.
A lot of people I meet out here have done different things with their lives, and they seem to enjoy that, and it inspires me to, you know, actually live life and not just work and go home and sleep.
Everybody's walking together with such goodwill. Everybody's looking out for each other, and that doesn't exist anywhere. So for me, that's the PCT. It's the people on it, not the ground that you walk on.
One other thing that I would say that I've learned that I want to talk about is the idea of trail magic, because when I receive like undeserved kindness the way I have on this trail, it makes me want to be a better person.
Trail magic just feels like it's like charity, but it feels like charity for family, because like the community of thru hiking is like so tight knit and everyone's looking after each other.
We had so much kindness when we thru hiked ourselves in 2007. It's a joy to give back, and it's sort of grown.
Trail angels are people that some of them have hiked the trail before, some of them haven't. But we come out and we set up food and water and other supplies necessary for the hikers to enjoy their hike more.
And it's interesting I get to meet lots of hikers and also hear their stories and why they're hiking. And what you realize is anybody can hike these trails. You don't have to be super fit.
I didn't really think that I was capable of it.
O meu medo antes de vir para PCT era não conseguir completar a trilha por questões físicas.
I didn't have too many fears, because I feel like I actually spent more time trying to convince everyone else in my life that was afraid for me that it was going to be okay. So they were so afraid for me that I wasn't that afraid.
You know, there are people on this trail from 80 years old, 20 years old, women on their own. You know, it's safe. It's like a family environment, really.
And that I could be one of them.
É só transformar os sonhos em realidade.
PCT is eating a family package of M&Ms and still have a nice figure, a body shape.
É comer macarrão com batata todos os dias e estar suja 7 dias na semana.
Not washing clothes for 2 weeks at a time.
The PCT is the adventure of a lifetime.